streaming. It gives me the high sign. We'll convene the meeting. Are we streaming, Steve? It's not showing on my screen, but go ahead and call the meeting to order. Thank you all for joining us. For our guests this evening, we have two speakers this evening we'll be hearing from shortly. Aside from that, do we have any guests present? If so, please raise your hand to be acknowledged. Don't see any hands up. All right. Steve, do you have the land acknowledgement slide, or Amber, either one?
Do you have the, I think he's muted.
I do have it. Hold on.
Okay. You display that, and then I'll ask Jeannie to read the land acknowledgement this evening once it's visible for everyone.
Well, that's not it.
Ready? We pause to acknowledge that Solano County Democratic. I lost it.
It just moved.
Yeah, I lost it, Steve.
Oh, okay. Let me try again.
Yeah. I'll give it a second shot here. Oh, there we go. Wonderful. We pause to acknowledge that Solano County Democratic Central Committee of the Democratic Party sits on the land of the Miwok and Patwin people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray in their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and the Miwok and Patwin people of the past and present.
Thank you, Jeannie.
You're welcome.
All right, we do have a quorum. I believe we have, I thought I saw Liliana with us.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So I don't believe you've been sworn in yet. So Steve, or if you can find the slide with our oath. And
Sorry about this.
it's all right. I'm sure we'll laugh about this someday. Technology is always fun and wonderful. All right, Liliana, if we can get you to come on camera and unmute yourself. And anyone else who hasn't taken the oath, I think everyone else has, but if you're suddenly remembering you haven't, feel free to so as well. So, Liliana, are you ready to take the oath? Still showing.
Yes, sorry, my camera's giving me some issues. Give me just a second.
Okay. Okay. If you will repeat after me, I state your name. You're muted again.
Oh, how about now? Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you repeat.
I, Liliana Cuevas,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter, and during such time as I hold the office of Central Committee member.
upon which I am about to enter and during such time as I hold the office of a Central Committee member.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You've been sworn in. Now you get to be sworn out with the rest of us. All right, moving on. Can we get, you will all receive the minutes from April. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Gian McDougal. I moved that we approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Pat Toast Smith.
Okay. Do you have that poll ready to launch? If you're having issues, let me just bypass. Does anyone have any objection to approving the minutes? Let me ask that way, or can we approve them by unanimous consent? Ah, there we go.
There we go.
I'll meet you in the car.
Okay, is vote who desire to vote. All vote who desire to vote. All vote who desire to vote. I think we've got the people who are going to vote at this point. So minutes are approved. For tonight's agenda, I do have one addition. We had scheduled Betty Yee to speak this evening several months ago, and when I was putting the agenda, my note from that scheduling was not on my desk, so I had overlooked her. My apologies. I'd like to go ahead and add Ms. Yee to our agenda before our other guest speakers, so we can hear them both. So with that change, can I get a, are there any other changes to the agenda? Let me ask that first.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
This is Lynette. I second it.
Okay. Thank you. Are we ready for that one? Let's go ahead and launch that. Hold.
Is my thing. There it is.
Right. All right, everyone, again, please vote.
I
like to-
lost my poll, but I vote yes. This is Lynette. I
Okay,
touched the screen and that was the end of it.
technology is fun.
I also vote yes. This is Bridget. I lost my poll also.
21st century problems. I lost my poll. We all know what you mean. All right, I think we've got all everyone has voted, so thank you. With that, we're going to move to our speakers. First speaker is our outgoing vice chair, candidate for governor, and my former boss, Betty Yee. Thank you for joining us this evening. Of course, we will look forward to seeing those of us who are going to Anaheim. We'll look forward to seeing you this weekend. But for the rest of the Central Committee, we'll give you a few moments to go ahead and tell us about your candidacy and everything. So let me get my timer pulled up. And where is my timer? And my timer has disappeared from. Okay, I'm going to have to use my phone while I find my timer. So, Ms. He, give you
Yes.
5 minutes to make a presentation, and I'll start when you begin speaking.
Great. Thank you, Don. Good evening, Solano County Democrats. And just really a pleasure to join all of you. And for those who will be in Anaheim, I look forward to seeing you at our organizing convention. First and foremost, thank you so much for all that each and every one of you did with respect to our 2024 election. Obviously, the top of the ticket was not what we had hoped for, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But for everything else, what we did here in California, we certainly did help in terms of narrowing the margins in the House. And we do believe that the organizing has already started with respect to the midterm elections. And hang on one second, I've got a siren right behind me. Great. And the organizing has already started with respect to the midterm elections, obviously, with what this Trump administration is doing relative to federal funding cuts and just so many, just onerous actions that it's taken to harm so many of our communities. But as I step down as vice chair of the party, I just wanted to be sure I take every opportunity just to express my thanks for the collective work that we did in delivering Democratic victories. Moving forward, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am a declared candidate for governor, and I know the field is still shaping up, and there will be people who are probably still going to enter the race and others that may decide to seek a different office. I will stay in the race regardless of who's running, but really leaning in on my fiscal and financial experience with respect to how we can make California add up for everyone again. As we learned during the last election cycle, certainly in canvassing and just engaging voters, California has become a bit of a challenging place to live, and affordability issues are real, and working people really are struggling. We are the 4th largest economy in the world, and yet when you peel that back, so many Californians still are trying to make ends meet. And it's really time to think about the role of government and how we can be sure that we're delivering the broadest public benefit with the dollars that we have, and to be sure that we are not leaving any communities behind. And I spent the last election cycle in the Central Valley and down in the Inland Empire as well. And just so many communities are going without just some of the basic services. And so I do believe that we can return California to a place of where we can have just opportunities for people to be able to see a future vision for themselves as we build housing, how we talk about not just housing, but how we can build economically sustainable communities, and having the state play a bigger role in terms of incentivizing business development. And so I'm just going to really lean in terms of my fiscal financial investment experience and hope to bring a lot of this vision forth so that we can always also re-engage Californians so that they can be every part of just creating this future vision for themselves. I was the fourth candidate to declare for governor. It will be a crowded field as it will be an open seat. And we feel that we are going to be in good stead, have a plan to raise $10 million by next June. Some of you have already supported the campaign, but we're going to work hard. This will be a grassroots campaign. And the way that we're engaging voters is that we are traveling the state, engaged in town halls and fireside chats, really understanding and learning the priorities of each region of the state and being sure that we're connecting up with each of them as we govern in terms of how we deliver public benefits for them. Most of my endorsements so far have been from local elected officials with whom I've had a collaborative relationship. I hope to make that more of a collaborative relationship as we tackle some of these issues around housing, especially. And my priorities are going to be dealing with the affordability issues of housing, healthcare, and electricity bills, and also looking at how we can lean into the climate crisis as really an opportunity with respect to our next economic opportunities for entrepreneurship, and also how we can bring climate technology into the mainstream, particularly in areas that are the most heavily burdened from the effects of climate change. So I just really would ask that you keep an open mind about this campaign, this race. As I said, the field is still shaping up, and as I think about just what will ensue these next few months, you probably will see me at a town hall or at a fireside chat, and I hope you will engage us, my campaign, with respect to your priorities, so that we can begin to develop ours as we think about what is needed as the CEO of the state of California. So with that, Mr. Chair, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to address all of you, and I was sorry to miss your annual event. And I know we had an auction prize that took place, and I'm still waiting for the winning bidder to contact me so that we could take them to dim sum in San Francisco. So anyway, always happy to support the Solano County Democratic Party, and thank you for the great work that you all do, and look forward to seeing you in person soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And then we will give a few minutes for questions, sitting 5 minutes. And as always, if you have a question for Ms. Yee, please drop it in the chat. First question has already come in. What are your positions on the Delta tunnels and on rooftop solar?
Well, rooftop solar has to be something that we continue to lean in on. You know, the energy transition will not be successful unless we are back in the business of incentivizing rooftop solar for every Californian. It is a major way that we're going to reach our energy goals. And with respect to the Delta tunnels, I am opposed to the tunnels. I do believe that there are better ways of looking at how we deal with our future water supplies rather than these big, large, expensive projects that do quite a bit of environmental damage and frankly, aren't necessarily going to deliver the results that I think we want. There's been not a lot of transparency with respect to that project, with respect to the impacts, and particularly with respect to the impacts on ratepayers and also the affected communities where the conveyance project will run through. So I am opposed to the tunnels, and have been working with Councilmember Ransom and just some of the other parties that have been advocating for alternatives to the tunnel project. We have not also done a great job of looking at how we do more on the demand side. Water supply is going to be constrained in the future, and so I think again with a lot of development of water technology that there are ways that we can look at how we can ensure a water supply that also makes sure that we are factoring in things like conservation, water reuse, and other methods as well.
Okay. A question, I'm assuming your staff can aid us in this question, but may we contact you if we have questions at a later date?
Yes, please. And you have Angelica Telechea, who's here, who's my assistant. But always you can correspond to us through my website, www.bettye.com.
And how do you suggest, or what do you suggest for budget changes to return to getting back in the black?
Well, I think a couple things. One, we are not in a position, I don't believe, of really demanding a tax increase right now from Californians. People are really struggling. And what I would suggest is just looking at ways that we can continue to grow the economy and raise revenue just by economic performance. And then at the same time, because before 2030, we're going to have to reauthorize the temporary tax increases through Prop 30 that were passed during the Governor Brown's administration. So just to keep pace with what we currently have as status quo revenue, we're going to have to look at a re-up of that particular tax increase and before 2030, and then beyond that we may have to do more, but right now the appetite is not there. I think we have to look at how to look. I found $7.5 billion of unauthorized spending when I was controller. I think we have to look at how we can be efficient. We have a DOGE in California. It's called the State Controller's Office, and so we look for the wasted dollars first and the unauthorized dollars, capture that back. And then there are changes. For example, I'll give you a change that I've been talking a lot about, but prior to my becoming controller, quite a bit before I became controller, we used to do independent audits of the Medi-Cal program. And there was a lot of provider fraud, not the recipients, but provider fraud. People setting up, just storefronts that didn't exist and claiming a reimbursement for services not provided. And there was always fraud that we recovered to quite a large amount. And so that now resides with the Department of Healthcare Services. There is a single agency, that's federal law. We can't have independent audits anymore. And so I would very much fight for that, because I know that because of the enormity of the program, that we can capture some dollars through the Medi-Cal program as well.
What are your plans to ensure protection of LGBTQ plus constituents in California, given how much
Well,
the community is under attack by the federal government?
Absolutely. Well, I would say I have no problem declaring California a sanctuary state for them. This is a place where we have just been the bellwether for the rest of the country, frankly, with respect to LGBTQ plus rights. And to just be in this time where, particularly as it relates to transgender rights, that we are just seeing an administration, the business of dehumanizing people, is just unacceptable. And I do think we have to lean in on this. This is so much about just how we are embracing and accepting of our diversity here in California, which is the greatest strength, by the way. And we need to protect this, because frankly, as I look at the attacks on the LGBTQ plus community, my question is always, who's next? And this administration is hell bent on going after every community that doesn't look like them.
All right, thank you. And I'll just paraphrasing your comment, if we can get your staffer to drop their contact information into chat for everyone, we'd appreciate that. I thank you for joining us this evening. And while I am certainly not making an endorsement at this time, I will point out that Betty Yee is one of the few statewide candidates who actually knows where Solano County is, and it's been here. So
thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm sure we'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much, Democrats. Have a good evening. And
Thank
see
you.
some of your convention. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Our next speaker this evening, and I appreciate his flexibility with our schedule, is a candidate for state party chair, Joey Bernstein. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. And we've heard the other two candidates last month, and now we will hear from him. And to be fair to those candidates, you have 3 minutes for your presentation, followed by 5 minutes for questions. So I will start the timer when you begin speaking, sir.
Awesome. Nice to meet you all. My name is Joby Bernstein, and I'm running to be the next chair of the California Democratic Party. My California dream started in 2017. I was not lucky enough to be born here, but it's my chosen home. Since moving here, I've worked on advising 3 state legislatures, improving policy, volunteering in our communities. I've helped fund billion-dollar projects in California, working for Biden's Department of Energy. And I also ran for US Congress across the Bay over in Silicon Valley. I deeply believe that what's special about California is that it is the place where the future gets made. We invent the drugs, we design the chips, we write the code, and we create the culture that shakes the world. We are home to Yosemite and Joshua Tree, the Lost Coast to Lake Tahoe. And we are also a state of immigrants, a state of dreamers, and a state of doers. On the flip side, we're also a state where too many people feel left behind. When I walk to city council meetings, I am saddened having to step over sleeping bags for meetings that are about affordable energy. We see orange skies, ashes in hand, communities destroyed, And the smell of smoke is now basically a season in California. I live in a city that is in the shadow of medical buildings, but I still can't find a primary care doctor within 10 miles of where I live. I'm here today because I really believe that California deserves a future that's abundant, it's affordable, and a party that's accountable. This means providing housing that families can actually afford, schools that uplift instead of remain underfunded, healthcare that's accessible in every single zip code, and a party that puts working families and younger generations at the center of the platform and not just during election time. So there's three things that I really plan to do differently. One, in the past, I've worked at modernizing and turning around businesses and nonprofits. I have a plan to do that for the party itself. Second, I want to drastically increase our communication, ensuring that we are very transparent with what's our budget, where is money going, why we're using it to be spent that way, and what's a scorecard and benchmarking to understand our progress. And third, we need better tools and training. I don't want to be authoritarian and saying that every single county should be using this practice, but we need the tools and the data in order to support our leaders. I'm someone who, when there hasn't been a seat at a table, I have brought a folding chair. And when I feel like the bench is broken in terms of finding new leaders, it's time to rebuild that bench and rebuild it together. So thank you. I have spent time in Solano County working on some of the windmills that were getting federal funding. And a beautiful place, and I'd be honored to answer any questions and hopefully earn your support. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And we will set the timer for 5 minutes. So for people who have questions, if you would, again, drop them into chat. First question is, what positions have you held with the state party and with your local central committee?
Yeah, thanks, Paula. I've been very involved at a federal level and a local level. I have consistent, and why I'm running for chair is that I've seen the problems at the state and I've been very frustrated by it. At a local level, I serve on boards of chartered Democratic clubs and involved in city council and local housing initiatives, involved in religious groups, education groups, and climate advocacy groups such as Citizens Climate Lobby and Climate Change Makers. I've worked on the Hill for 3 different state legislatures in the Department of Energy and advocated and been a leader when it comes to fighting for clean energy deployment across the country. Statewide, when I ran for Congress, I was frustrated. I obviously understood that I wouldn't be receiving financial support from the party, but I had questions about how to run, how to get connected to leaders, how to understand the process. When it comes to training and data, that is where the state party needs to excel at. When it comes to communicating, having a plan, improving messaging, that's where the state needs better solutions. And I'm someone who runs at problems. It took me a little bit of time to realize that the problem needs to be solved at the state level. I can't just be active in work and my full-time job federally and then in volunteering locally. It's time to take action in the state. We are the 4th largest economy in the world. We have $5.2 trillion in GDP, and yet we fall short on so many things. And it is frustrating to me to see how in the state where we'll have affordable housing will get passed, and then it takes 10 years, nothing gets done because of permitting, and people think affordable housing doesn't work. Or when you can't afford to live in the town that you work in, or you can't get healthcare or basic healthcare needs, you stop believing in the party and you stop believing in us. And so I want to be a leader who can really fight back against that, fight for change, and be very clear on how I can do it transparently and with real action.
Okay, next question. There are 9 Republican Congress members who voted for Trump's budget, which include, among other things, cuts to Medicaid. State party does not seem to know how to message or organize in the modern era. What would you do to change this?
Yeah, Michelle, I love the question. I think it's a problem that I wish I had the perfect answer to, and I think that everyone in this room wishes we had the perfect answer to. I think yes, we need to do more to improve our message, but sometimes it's thinking about not just the message, but the messenger. I think for good or bad, Republicans have chosen, have been able to gain a lot of traction with messengers that stick. Why they stick, I don't fully understand it. There are messengers that I personally abhor, but there are messengers that when you look at the data, they are getting views, they are getting more clicks, They are getting more attention and more repeats of the message. And I think we need to be thoughtful about who we choose as our messengers and help support them and find ways and channels where it works and where it's effective. I am someone who is enjoys social media. I think we need to be very literate when it comes to how can we be effective on TikTok, on Instagram, how can we be effective on LinkedIn and other platforms. And then we should be the party. I mean, there's always needs to be precautions and guardrails, but when it comes to using AI to be thoughtful about how to target, how to better understand our data, understand where there are issues and where there are problems, I think being tech forward at a top level can be very effective at providing guidance and ideas for different counties. But a lot of this really comes down to being willing to listen, being willing to understand, and being very thoughtful on understanding where the messengers and messages are working, and then supporting those and those different channels.
What are your thoughts on carbon sequestration and pipelines? Do you support or oppose them?
There are many different types. Yeah, good question. It takes me like probably 15 minutes. Love to have this debate another time. Overall, carbon sequestration needs to be part of the solution to climate change. I always kind of describe the climate as a bathtub. We are, the sink, the faucet is throwing emissions into the atmosphere. We're filling up this bathtub with dirty water. We are going to need a drain because it takes way too many years for evaporation to occur in the bathtub. So we're going to have to think about forms of carbon removal. There are many different methods, from rock mineralization to direct air carbon capture to mineralization of oceans. They need a lot of thought around both the environmental impacts of them, and then second, understanding if the financial model is work and if it's viable and can get to a point where it can be funded. So I think I approve of the idea of carbon sequestration. It needs to be part of the solution. But to get there, we need to be very thoughtful on environmental consequences and at what cost we're willing to do it effectively versus other efficiency measures.
All right, and that was the sound of our timing up. So I appreciate you coming to us this evening. And I would say, for those of us who will be in Anaheim, we look forward to seeing you there and perhaps having more in-depth one-on-one conversations with you. So good luck to you, and thanks again.
Thank you all. And I'll put my contact information in the chat as well. And please reach out.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Okay. The next item we have on our agenda is our public comment. This is for guests to the meeting. All comments are limited to 2 minutes. Additional time may not be granted. Comment period cannot exceed 30 minutes. So I'm going to open the time for public comment. If you are a guest and wish to speak, please raise your hand. Seeing no hands up. Seeing no hands up, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. Move on to our treasurer's report. So, Karen, you have more good news for us this month, I trust?
Okay, all right. I think so. So our treasurer's report for May 2025, I'll start with our federal account. And our beginning balance was $10,620.43. Our credits are basically dues. And so the dues income was, and I'm going to do this individually as we had it set for transparency. Bauer at $70, Hamilton at $70, Wiley at $70, Brown at $100, James at $70, Rogers at $70, Alexander at $35, Pellegrin at $35, Henley $70, Lovell $35, Camper $35, Federally $35, and Williams W 35. We also had an allocation transfer of $1,573.99, and that brought our total credits to $2,303.99. And adding that to our beginning balance brought a figure of $12,924.42. And now with our debits, River City Business Services at $702.01. Our storage unit was $153.99. Bank fees, Act Blue, $28.91. Crab feed return deposit was $414. And then our US Postal Box renewal was $105 for total debts of $575.91. And when we subtract that from our total, including our credits, we come to a federal ending balance of $12,348.51. Now taking a look at our state account, our beginning balance was $7,674.61. And we had dues income on the state side as well. Individually listing for transparency, Scott at $35, Toth Smith at $35, United Dems of Southern Solano County, $70, Alexander at $35, Hardwick at $25, Brumfield, $5, and Hardwick again, a revolving donation at $25. Then we had the Jewish Democratic Club of Solano County, $70. For a total of $300. And that total credits, when we add it to our beginning credit balance of $7,974.61. Our debits on that was Act Blue merchant purchase fees of $7.93, 20 cents, and then 99 cents. And then, of course, the allocation transfer that we sent to our federal account was $1,573.99, with total debts of $1,583.11. So when we subtract that from our total credits, which was added to our beginning balance in the state account, we have a state ending balance of $6,391.50. And then when we add both our federal and state accounts together, we have a total of $18,740.01. So Yvonne, I see you have a question.
Yeah, I'm curious because I thought I had paid my dues and then I got an email either today or I think it was yesterday that I hadn't paid. So I went online and paid again. So why was I getting that if I paid in April?
I'm not sure. I don't know if did you get an email yesterday? I didn't send one out.
Yeah.
So I'm not,
Yeah.
did it come from the treasurer?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, what's the date on it? Because it could have been it could have been something that came up later because I only sent one email out and that was about a month ago. So I'm not sure. But if that's the case, then what you can do is, did you send it through Act Blue?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can go in with your AB number and ask for a return for a refund, and you can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome.
Well, Yvonne, you paid your Northern Solano club dues either yesterday or today. So I'm not sure. Because I
Well, what did
received
I
your payment
pay?
for club dues, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, was it Northern Solano or was it the SCDCC?
Oh, I think it was Northern Solano.
Okay, see, so that's why then, because I didn't send one. I sent one out about a month ago for the Solano Central Committee. And so that must be dues for the Northern Solano County.
Oh, so I have to pay for both of them, huh?
Well, if you're in both of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know I was in it. All right, thanks.
You're in more clubs than you thought. You're a great Democrat. What can I tell you?
All right,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay. And then I'm also I have a request this evening for reimbursement for, I purchased 3 tab folders, and this is over time, 3 tab folders, poster board. Some of this stuff was done for the crab feed, binders, tape, and HP cartridges to print out things. And the total of that is $140.76. I have receipts for it. And so, I'm asking the club the membership to consider reimbursing me for that amount.
I move that we,
Go ahead. I'm
oh,
sorry.
I move that we reimburse Karen $140.76.
I second it.
Okay. Is there any discussion of it?
Thank you. If there is any discussion, I can follow through.
I'm not seeing any hands. in lieu of having our tech people scramble to make a poll, let me ask, is there any objection? If you have an objection, please raise your hand and to be recognized. Otherwise, I'd like to have this adopted by acclamation. Not seeing any hands up, so barring any dissents, the motion is approved by acclamation.
Yay.
Thank you.
And thank you, Ken. We appreciate all your hard work for us, keeping us on the
welcome.
straight and narrow.
You're welcome.
Other reports from our officers. I will say, as chair, it's been a fairly busy month. We've had the state party chair, Rusty, called a meeting of the county chairs last weekend. He heard a lot of feedback, I guess is the polite term I will use, many echoing what we have already raised with the party about the need for better communications and improved messaging, and more interactive dialogue between the state and the counties. I will share with you, hopefully some of you are getting the weekly communications email that the party is putting out. And Rusty attributes that directly to the letter that we sent to the party asking for it. So, congratulations to all of you. You actually managed to push the chair into action with your communication. So I do want to share with that. This weekend also, there are actually 2 meetings scheduled, peer-to-peer meetings scheduled with fellow county chairs that I'll be participating in. One specifically for Northern chairs, and another statewide meeting that we are having. We will be discussing some of the issues that we've already raised, such as improving communications and messaging and outreach. So having that dialogue with them to help move our party forward. And of course, we will see the outcome of the election for our state party officers, whether we have improvements or a new fresh voice in handling some of these issues. And I received from the communications committee earlier this week a draft letter they prepared for members of Congress. So I've signed it, put it on letterhead, and sent it back to them. They will be, I'm sure, discussing that in their report, but that's due to be going out soon. And we are moving forward. Michelle, I see your hands up.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear all this stuff, Don. It's really good news. I'm just curious, when you say you're going to be meeting with the chairs, is that at the convention or is that another time?
Yeah, that's at the convention. We county chairs are gathering at the convention to meet. That was an offshoot of our meeting with the state party chair. I think there's a certain level of wanting to do some grassroots organizing and not wait necessarily for edicts to come down from on high. So we'll go from there. Bonnie, I see your hands up.
Yeah, how often has Rusty called a meeting of the Central Committee chairs in the last year?
That's a very good question. In my own experience, this is the first meeting outside of a convention or e-board that he has called the chairs. He has scheduled meetings at the conventions and e-boards when we've been in person. However, candidly, I have to say they've usually been scheduled before, as in many hours before the convention gets going. So unless you arrive the day before, you probably weren't present to attend that chairs meeting. And that was usually mostly a one-way conversation, I will say, not a true dialogue. there were questions, but they were usually of the softball variety that came up, or the answers were relatively anodyne. So it's a true dialogue is, in my personal experience, relatively rare. But he said in our meeting that he's open, if he's reelected, to having quarterly meetings with county chairs, and open to finding new and different approaches to dialoguing with people. He said that in his tenure, he's tried many different ways. Again, I can only share what my own experience was. Lynette, see your hands up.
Thanks, Don. I just want to, I guess, co-sign or support what you're saying. When I was regional director, they were perfunctory, I would say, meetings of the county chairs and the regional directors. And the best dialogues that came out of that was, I would say, the county chairs and the regional directors talking to each other. We'd have the chair come in for 10, 15 minutes, softball stuff to them, and then I've got to get to another meeting. So hopefully this will occur, because finding out 3 or 4 times a year where the party's going is tough for a county chair, when all of a sudden you have to be told or asked to mobilize your county committee to act on behalf of the party. So hopefully, if he is reelected or whoever's elected, that the county chairs, because you all play such a key part in what we do at the county. You don't want to have it trickling down that you hear it in passing from a regional director, or you just happen to be at the right meeting at the right time to hear, oh, the party's going to ask you to do this, and you're like, what? How come I'm just hearing about it? So thank you for what you do, and I know how those meetings can go, and I look forward to a change in how our county committee chairs are, I don't want to say dealt with, but handled. To bring us
Treated.
forward. Treated. There you go. Thank you. That's the word, treated. So hopefully more respectful treatment of them will occur. Thanks.
I mean, to be fair, you may feel at times that we need to be candid, but I would not, leave it to him to make up his own mind. Rosetta, see your hands up.
Yes, I would just concur with Lynette and obviously Dawn on this as a former county chair. Those meetings are very important just to keep everyone on the same page. And so you know what direction the party is headed. And so also that you can get your voice in for your county and say, here's what we need. To the extent that it'll be listened to might be varying, but at least you can get your voice in. And I highly, encourage everyone who's able to attend these, if you're a county chair, to do so. Thank you, Dawn, for attending. And also caucus chairs have pretty much the same thing, but they move us to Sunday morning. So we go Sunday morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. to do the same thing. So thank you so much. And thank you, Dawn.
Right. Well, thank you all. Beyond that, I just want to say to everyone, I sent out the communication earlier today regarding the club's certification process for participating in next year's endorsement process. Hopefully the club representatives did receive that last week, but I sent it out to all of you just in case. So feel free to badger your club president to make sure that they did in fact receive it and then acting on it, because we want to make sure that all of our clubs that are rechartered have every opportunity to participate in the endorsement process. Should we have any open seats next cycle? Right now, I don't expect we will, but it's important for us to be represented and to be heard. So please act on that as you will. That's all I have for right now. I've got some other stuff later on, but did I see? Well, let me ask. I don't see Renee, so let me go ahead to Carrie. Do you have a report as Southern Vice Chair?
No report, Don.
Okay. Secretary, did you have any? She's not with us this evening. Well, my apologies. I understand she's having some a family emergency come up. So I will just say, should it become necessary, I think the e-board will exercise its prerogative to send appropriate flowers or what have you on the Central Committee's behalf. Should it become necessary, and if it does, we will let you know. Information Resource Officer, do either of you have anything to report this evening?
Yes, I do. So I wanted to give everyone an update on the changes that have been made to the website. I am going to share my screen, and this information is important to clubs especially. One second, pick the right screen. This is the one. Okay, hopefully everyone can see my screen. So previously, the website had a drop-down menu for clubs where it had a list of the different clubs. And when you clicked on the link, it took you away from our site to their website. Now, a number of those clubs had links that were broken. So now, instead of having a drop-down, there's one singular page. When you click on clubs, it will list all of the chartered clubs. It includes a blurb. Steve and I went through the different clubs, web pages, went to the mission statements, and put together a 1 to 2 sentence summary. Club representatives, if you would like to go to the website and look, and if you want to make a change to that, or you're not satisfied with that blurb, please let me know, and I can easily make that change. So you'll see for the different clubs, it has a blurb. When you click on the name or you click on learn more, it will redirect to that club's page. So I wanted to go down my list of clubs that I am missing information from. And so a number of clubs should have received an email from Steve, but my understanding is that he did not receive a response back. So please respond back to Steve or email me. So for the Community Democratic Club, I don't have a mission statement or an about me for that club. The official URL was broken, so I had to go to the Facebook page, and the Facebook page didn't have the information there. The other club I need information from for Sankofa, I have a blurb for Sankofa, but I don't have a website for Sankofa. So if you can please send that to me, that would be great. For the Solano Democratic Workers Alliance, I did find their Facebook page, but no about me. So if the Solano Democratic Workers Alliance, their representative, can send me their 1 to 2 sentence blurb, that would be great. There was one more. Oh, you know what? That might be it. Okay, everyone else, I have something there. So I will drop the link in the chat. And when you get a chance, please look at the page and then let me know if you would like me to change the description of your club. The other thing we did was we updated the calendar. So the calendar has all of the official meetings for the various clubs. The clubs that had their monthly meeting information listed on their websites, I included them in the calendar. There were quite a few clubs that do not have their meetings listed. Let's see, the Jewish Democratic Club, the Community Democratic Club, the Rio Vista Democrats, Sankofa, and Solano Democratic Workers Alliance. I don't have your monthly club information. So if you could send that to me, that would be great. And I will make sure that makes it to our monthly calendar. So our monthly calendar, like I said, has the official meetings. We did have a conversation about including some more community events. So events that aren't technically sanctioned by the California Democratic Party or by Central Committee. So, you know, if Northern Solano Democratic Club is hosting their coffee meetups, or if United Dems are hosting an event that they would like advertised to the public, please send that information to me. All the information, if there's a photo, a flyer, please send that to me as well. And then we will add that to our community events page. So it would be nice when Democrats come to our website that they can see, you know, what kind of clubs, they can read the blurb, see which clubs are interesting to them, and then they can see how they can get involved through the official clubs and then what events are happening in their neck of the woods. So that is my update, and I will drop my email address and I will drop the link to the to our Central Committee website in the chat.
Thank you very much, and let me just say to both you and to Steve that the work already done looks excellent. Thank you both for putting the time and energy into that. We appreciate you willing to step up and take on what is a challenging and often thankless role. So thank you very much. And I look forward to continued excellent work from both of you. Moving on, parliamentarian, do you have anything other than the club rechartering to discuss? Or are we just
No,
okay?
just that.
We will hear from you when it comes to business. All right, and that's all our reports as we asked on the agenda. For the clubs and elected officials who did not send in their report already, please email it in and either Kathy or I will get it out to you within the next couple of days. That said, if you don't, I would venture to guess if you don't get it to us by say noon tomorrow, it's probably not going to come out till after the convention because we'll be traveling or otherwise busy. Moving on to business and committee reports. Are you able to pull up the Pride Month proclamation for display?
Yes, I believe I have it. Hold on.
As you all know, we've been doing these for the last few years. So this year's version is largely taken from what we did last year, just changed a few dates, made a few minor edits, and I was certainly open to any additions and deletions or corrections, since this is purely our internal proclamation. We don't need to conform to state party resolution requirements, which is good because we'd have to hack a lot of it away.
Don, tell me again what the you say it's a bylaw?
No, the Pride Proclamation.
Oh, the Pride okay.
Yeah, we have that, and then we'll have Juneteenth after that. So it should be LGBTQ Pride Month 25 proclamation.
Okay.
So did anyone have any recommended edits to this proclamation? So please raise your hand. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
This is Paula. I move that we approve it.
This is Miguel. I second.
Okay.
Okay.
Who
So I heard both.
seconded?
I heard both Glenn and Miguel. So
Got it.
all vote. Just bring the vote. All right, looks like we have approval, and I will ask that this proclamation, along with the other one, be posted on our website and social media for public consumption. The next item we have is the Juneteenth proclamation. Bring that up. And again,
This is Lynette. I move the approval of the Juneteenth resolution.
okay, thank you, Lynette. Is there a second?
I second it.
Second.
I'm trusting all of you had a chance to read it, and you. Did anyone have any feedback? Any changes they wish to make? I will go ahead and we'll accept friendly edits after the fact, I guess. Otherwise, again, all those who wish to vote on that. All right, again, looks like it passed unanimously. Again, if you would please post that, social media and our website. That we, despite what may be going on in Washington, so share our democratic values here. Next up, Bylaws Committee, Club Charter Renewal. So Paula, it's your show.
So as announced last month, we had sent out a notice and got information from the clubs and had a bylaw meeting on May 20th. I sent out the minutes from that, I think yesterday or the day before. The recommendation from the Bylaws Committee to the Central Committee for rechartering is that the Benicia Progressives, the Northern Club, United Dams, the Jewish Club, and the Rio Vista Club be rechartered unconditionally, and that Sankofa, the Workers Alliance, and the Community Club be chartered on condition that they get into compliance with the FPPC within 90 days. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Paula, this is Lynette. I couldn't get to my reactions. So the FPPC requirement, is that new? Because it's not in our bylaws.
It's not a requirement. It was just something that we had asked for and that we voted on as a committee to have clubs be in compliance with.
Okay, so we need to update our bylaws to indicate that that's part of the rechartering requirement, because
Oh,
it's
we
not a
could do
requirement
that.
now.
No,
not
it's
a
not a
requirement.
requirement.
It's
No,
not a
it's not.
requirement. So that's why I would have objection to conditionally approving those three, not approving those three. I don't even know how to say it, but the three that were not approved fully based on our current bylaws should be approved fully, and we should update our bylaws. And I don't mind requesting that from them so that all charter clubs have the same information provided, but I don't think they should be penalized based on our bylaws.
Well, I don't think they're being penalized. They're just being asked to come into compliance.
They are in compliance. They provided you everything the bylaws say.
Well,
right?
okay.
Right? That's all I'm saying. So I move a substitute motion that all charter clubs that presented the requirements based on our bylaws be approved unconditionally tonight.
This is Gian McDougall. I second.
And I'd like to speak to that, Don.
Don, you're muted.
Go ahead, Lynette.
Thank you. I'm belong to about 5 clubs, and the bylaws indicate what you have to do for rechartering, and the FPPC piece is not in there. So I know I've missed some meetings, and that's why I was asking, have the bylaws been changed? So since the bylaws indicate what you have to submit, and that was submitted, I think we should not penalize anybody tonight. But I think they should all be approved unconditionally, and the request and the bylaw change occur for the FPPC piece to be added for future rechartering. But the request, and I don't think anybody's going to have a problem sending in the 90-day request to the Central Committee. So I would ask a support of fully chartering all the charter clubs based on our bylaws.
Okay, does anyone else have any comments? I will say my one hesitation on that, why your point is well taken. I am hesitant to not at least make note of the fact that these clubs were not, as of the time they submitted their information, were not current in their FPPC reports, because it gives the impression that we're blessing that failure to be in compliance. That's my only concern. I think if, I mean, obviously the membership will do as it will, but I do think we should note it because
but that's not a requirement.
It's not a requirement, but at the same time, I am reluctant to close my eyes to a known deficiency. That's my personal perspective. The membership will do as they will. Are there any other comments or?
Yes, this is Gian McDougall.
Sure.
If it's not a requirement, then I don't even see what the it's a problem, because if it's not a requirement. So I think that we've done our club has done what we've been asked to do as a requirement. So and we will get the other information in within that 90-day, but it's definitely not a requirement. So I agree with what Lynette has said.
Your point's taken. My issue is that with these clubs being out of compliance with state law, which is at $10 a day plus at 365 days for some of them that were a year in arrears for their reporting. That said, we have the substitute motion that has been moved and seconded. Are we ready to launch the poll for the substitute motion to approve all clubs unconditionally? I'm not clear what the intent is. Is choice 2 to approve them all unconditionally?
Choice 2 was an accident. I couldn't figure out how to get rid of it.
Okay.
Ignore choice 2.
All right.
So choice 1 is rechartering them all unconditionally.
Okay.
Correct?
So
right.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're voting yes, this is the substitute motion. All clubs are chartered unconditionally.
Okay.
Or renewed unconditionally, I should say.
The poll went away again. It said poll is open and it disappeared. So I'm voting yes to approve all the clubs unconditionally.
Those who do not have their chat for their poll visible for whatever reason, please enter their vote in the chat just so it's captured.
Sure.
Okay. We've been 2 minutes. With Lynette's vote, it is tied 7-7. The motion fails to charter all clubs unconditionally. Returning to the original motion then, to charter the first 5 clubs that were listed unconditionally. The other 3 rechartered with the expectation that they will be demonstrate compliance within 90 days. If we go ahead and prepare to launch that poll, Steve.
Okay, I gotta write it.
Or
Okay, so this is
approved rechartering in line with the bylaws committee's recommendations.
rechartering for bylaw.
Committee,
Yeah.
committee recommendation.
And just sort of looking at the comments about, yes, we should amend our bylaws. I wholeheartedly agree. But as many of you will recall, we spent much of last year dealing with the state parties rules committee and their interpretation of endorsement language, and then we moved on to the election and other things. So, please vote on this motion.
Is there going to be any discussion on this motion?
I thought I asked for comment. If I didn't, please comment, Michelle. Sorry.
Yeah, so I just want to say that I think everyone needs to be in compliance, but I think we should have a smooth route for that. So in case any club needs help with it, that we've got someone that they can talk to, so we can be supportive of all of our clubs.
Certainly a point well taken. Lynette.
I'll wait till after the vote comes through,
Okay.
since we're in the middle of voting.
Okay. All right. Everyone who, please go ahead and cast your votes. I want to give it another, give it till 1:30, so another 15 seconds. Okay, that motion passed. So all the clubs are chartered as outlined in the committee's report. Lynette.
Thank you. I was opposed to the initial motion because it was out of compliance with our bylaws, and that's the point of having bylaws. If we wanted to add this piece to it, which was the FPPC requirement for rechartering, then the bylaw should have done its due diligence to put that piece forward for our bylaws so that we could have voted on that, and then clubs were not surprised. It might have been in the letter that was sent to them, but since it's not in the bylaws, it should not have been enforced without being a bylaw requirement. And unfortunately, we often get into trouble because we go outside of our bylaws to do things in our central committee, then have to deal with it afterwards. So trying to be in compliance with our bylaws was why I put forward that motion. I'm not opposed to the FPPC requirement. I'm just opposed to it not being in compliance with our bylaws at this time for the rechartering. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynette. And absolutely acknowledge it's not an explicit requirement of our bylaws, so we should correct that. There is, I would say, we do require them to be filed with the FPPC when they submit chartering, and I think implied in that is compliance. We should address the issue with the bylaws. You are correct. That said, I do want to say, just generally speaking, because I know there was some communication back and forth, different clubs under the impression that they did not have to file with the FPBC because they weren't raising or spending money. I know that there is a very narrow interpretation that if you're a campaign activity, that if you're not spending money on explicitly supporting or opposing candidates urging their election, it's not political spending. I think that's a somewhat risky interpretation because there are clubs that do endorsements and other activities and are arguably their spending would fall within the ambit of political activity, even if it's supporting meetings and newsletters and other things. So I'd caution against following that interpretation. That said, regardless of which interpretation you're following, as long as you have an active committee, you have a filing requirement of every 6 months minimum, or the non-activity report. So if you intend to say that we are not raising and spending money on political purposes, terminate your committee so that you're no longer, incurring late fines and other penalties. So I would urge against that. I think you should be a political club engaging in political activities, supporting your candidates. That's the whole point of being a Democratic club. But regardless, if you have an active committee, be timely in your reporting. So regardless of how quickly we get the bylaws amended, it's not an issue in the future. Next up, we have our communications committee, who has been very busy, as we kind of talked a little bit earlier in my report. So, and I know they have more coming up. So, Michelle, where are you? We can spotlight you and give you a report.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm glad to hear that the letter's done, but I didn't receive it, so just to let you know. But as long as we have that for the letter that Don's talking about is the one that the Communications Committee approved 2 meetings ago, that we would send a letter to all the Democratic electeds in Congress saying basically that their messaging, they need to have consistent messaging. And so that's done, and we are going to have an event on the 3rd. People are going to make the envelopes and put the stamps on and all of that. So that's pretty exciting that that's getting done. We do need to pay for the stamps though, and when this motion was originally done, I didn't think about that because I didn't know we were going to have to send them in letters. So anyway, I need to make a motion that that the Central Committee pays for the stamps and the envelopes, and that cost is approximately $300.
I second that motion.
Okay. So that's my motion with this part of my report done, and then after that, there's just a little bit more.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. It's certainly appropriate for us to approve that spending in furtherance of our goal of communicating to Congress. So does anyone have any comments, questions on this? Please raise your hand.
I just want to comment that I do have the letter, Michelle, and I'll share that with you, the completed letter that Don had signed, that's going to go out. So I will send that to you. Okay.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah, I return to whoever sent it to me. I think it was Paula. So Paula.
Yeah, no, I did send you that letter. You did get it back to us right away, Don, and I did send it out, but I must have maybe missed Michelle. I think this is a great idea. I'm all in favor of it. It's a great letter. Longish, but great.
Okay. Seeing no other hands, do we have a poll ready, Steve? Or if we're ready, go ahead and launch it. All right, I think we're getting the usual amount of people who are voting, so we'll call it. Thank you. That motion is approved. And it goes without saying, submit your receipts to Karen and she'll take care of it. Do all the things. And those of you who can help with, doing the folding and stuffing and stamping, please show up and help out. I'm sure the committee would appreciate the help. Having done mailers in the past, that's not fun. Next up, you have some other stuff you wanted to report, so let me not forget that.
Yeah, I know people are tired and we're all leaving for the convention tomorrow, so I'll make it really, really quick. The last meeting, we passed a motion that we'd send out a letter to county chairs and their communication committees to try to have a meeting to discuss some of these things. We'd wanted to do it before the convention, but that's not going to happen. So an email will probably go out to let people know that we're there and we can talk about it. And I've talked to a few of the county chairs, and we're going to be meeting with some of them. A lot of them are in red districts. So it's pretty exciting what's going on. And Don, I'll just be in touch with you about the meeting you have. I don't know is that a public meeting or is it just for chairs? Can we sit in on it and be quiet?
I am not the one organizing it. I know the invitation is going out to chairs. I don't know if the intent is for people, to be honest.
Okay, well, I'll be in touch later then to find out about that. And that's all. That's what I've got.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have an upcoming meeting on Monday, and the meetings for the Communications Committee are now the first Monday of every month.
All right. Sounds good. Legislation Committee. There you are, Bonnie. I'm assuming you have a report for us.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am going to share my screen if that's okay. I think Steve gave me the ability to do that. Just want to, I think it'd be a lot easier to kind of look. First of all, I just want to update folks on where we are in the legislative session. Right now, for the next week, starting on Monday through Friday, the bills will be on the floor of their respective houses. So the assembly bills will be on the assembly floor and the Senate bills will be on the Senate floor. Some have already gone to the other house. They were probably non-fiscal bills. All the bills that made it out of the fiscal committee, the appropriations committee, are on our list. Just to look at the schedule. So after next week, they'll either pass or not pass their respective houses. Then we go into the budget process in mid-June, and then we'll come back after, I believe, 4th of July. I might be wrong with that. To all the bills that say were in the assembly will then that pass will be start being in the Senate and go through committee hearings. Those will be done on July 18th, and then it'll go into fiscal committees and so forth. But I'll leave it at that as far as the calendar is concerned. Not all of our bills made it out of committee, made it out of fiscal committee. So there were 7 bills that have made it through and made it onto the floor of the House or their respective house, or it made it over to the other house by this time. And there were, I believe, 4 that were held back. I don't want to make people too dizzy. I'm just going to go down to our held bills. So 1, 2, 3, 4 bills did not make it out of the appropriations committee. So they are essentially not alive anymore. We did take up some other bills for consideration. We can talk about those. I did send it, but I fortunately I sent it fairly this afternoon or early afternoon. I can go over them quickly. one is about data centers and would require to adopt energy efficiency and energy use. I mean, data centers take a lot of energy. So this would minimize the impact on ratepayers with these new data centers for like AI and so forth. And that's a bill from Bauer Kayan. There are two bills that are about carbon dioxide transport. Carbon dioxide pipelines are they're essentially dangerous. And we in Solano County have a proposal that is being put forth through the EPA right now and through the county to put a carbon pipeline collecting carbon dioxide from the dirty refineries and power plants in Contra Costa and piping it through the Delta and dumping it into southern Solano County. These two bills, AB 881, and then there's a sister bill from the Senate. Which one is that one? 614, which actually right now there is a temporary moratorium on carbon dioxide pipelines because there's no safety guardrails on those pipelines. There were, the Biden administration had put forth had started that process, but you know what happened. So we don't know what's going to happen now as far as safety with these carbon dioxide pipelines, because carbon dioxide in concentrated form is an asphyxiant and can kill people as well as other things. And it can also acidify water. So it could create dead zones in water which can last for years and go for miles. So these two bills would lift that temporary moratorium. So we want to be in opposition to those two bills. So that's the other two of the other ones. This one about Calderon, SB 942. Again, we oppose that one as well. Let's see. And a lot of these were Kathy had put forth, and I wanted her to like speak up if there were any questions about these. But this has to do with more money, less money to the solar folks. That's another issue. Cabalden, we wanted to bring that one back up, SB 5. I don't know if Monica is here, but we don't see any problem with this bill. We've talked to his staff. Basically, all this bill does was make sure that farmers have a different tax than developers in farmland on development. So the Williamson Act, so that those developers do not take advantage of the Williamson Act and only farmers get that benefit. So we want to support that bill. It affects us directly. Here's another one, SB 500 that we support. This would change for profit utility compensation model from capital investment based to performance based, aligning business incentives with California's clean energy goals and bring ratepayer costs down. That's SB 500. And this is one that we also oppose was SB 540. Basically, this would change for profit utility compensation model from capital investment based to performance based, aligning. Oh no, this is a different one. This has to do with regionalization. And the concern here is that we could take energy from other states that might produce dirty energy, like coal produced energy. So it might be against our clean energy goals in this state. So we oppose that. I think that covers them. There were a couple of other ones that we looked at that we wanted to support, but they, again, did not make it out of committee. So I did not include them on the list. I know that's a lot of information. I don't know if anyone's got questions, but I will leave it at that. I'll leave this up for a second, but I'm certainly happy to entertain any questions.
If anyone has a question, please raise your hand. I'm not seeing any. There's a comment. From Carrie, NRDC supports SB 540. So
540, let me just take a look at that SB5. Is that do we have an opposition to that?
Yes, you do, and it's through the chair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So there's a lot of misinformation about this bill, which is sponsored by Natural Resources Defense Council. And right now we have a very splintered grid, and this bill would say, let's go on to a regional grid to bring down energy prices. And it's false that we would bring in dirty energy, because that's not how California is going to meet our climate action goals. So it wouldn't be up to the PG&Es and Southern California Edison to make those decisions. It would be the California Energy Commission, which is charged with meeting our climate action goals. So that there's a lot of false information going around about that bill. And it hurts me to get Kathy's action alerts, which are filled with in my opinion, falsities. It's all about anything that NRDC is sponsoring or working on this year is about bringing our energy prices down, because we're not going to be in a place to electrify everything unless we do that. So I don't agree with our position on 540. Thanks.
And honestly, Carrie, I think that what you're saying might be a residual from the bill that came up, I believe, last year. That was a regionalization bill, and maybe that had a different. And I don't know it intimately, so I can't really say. I think because I know Utah is doing some really good work with hot rock geothermal energy. And if we can bring that energy in, that would be fantastic. And actually, there was a bill that we wanted to recommend that didn't make it out of committee that would have set a strategic plan for hot rock geothermal technology in California, which would be 24/7 clean energy and would not depend on geysers. So, but it didn't make it out of the appropriations committee. So anyway, I mean, if you want to extract this and then we can vote on the other bills, and then we can, I mean, I'm fine to just watch it. I mean, personally, the Becker bill, I think Josh Becker is a climate champion. And I don't really want to outright oppose anything he does, but we did have discussion about this, so we bring it to committee now. So if you want to extract it from like the list of what we're recommending, and then we talk about that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's it sounds like Bonnie would entertain a friendly amendment to change SB 540 to watch. Would that be acceptable to you, Carrie?
Yes.
And then we can revisit it.
And I would accept that. And then we can keep an eye on it, and maybe you and I should have a discussion offline about it a little bit more in depth, and bring Kathy into that discussion as well.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to.
Any other discussion or extractions from the list?
I just have a question about AB 942. What was the position on that?
942.
That was
Oppose.
yeah, okay. All right. Okay, I'm with that. Okay. That's
Yeah.
the solar and net metering. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Bonnie, for the clarification.
Okay, with the one change on SB 540, does anyone have any other changes or polls they wish to make? If not, since this is a committee report, can we move the poll to adopt the committee's report as amended.
I'll stop sharing.
Fire that off. Okay. Last call. All those who wish to vote, please vote. Otherwise, I think we are good to call this one. And the motion passes as amended.
Don, I do have one other question about how to let folks know that we either support or oppose their bills. I know that we have, we're kind of limited in time. You either can share your thoughts or we can talk offline about this, but just to communicate with the our assembly person and senator, as well as the authors.
Okay, we can certainly follow up on that. Yeah, in addition to the position letters that we send in. Next time I had on the agenda was convention discussion. For those, I don't know if any of you have any questions or concerns. Of course, we're going to be going down to Anaheim all day Friday. They're doing a training on organizing for 2026. I certainly hope it's worth the money I spent for it. And then we'll be having the usual caucuses and floor sessions, including the however many candidates there are now for governor and other statewide offices and or party officer elections going on. So it's going to be a very busy weekend. Lynette, I see your hands up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The Assemblywoman is providing lunch for the delegates to this convention. You should have received something from Edgar or Shakira about that. More information will be coming out tomorrow, location and all of that. So if you have any questions, I'll be working credentials. So if you're not sure, just pop by credentials. I'll be working all day, well, Friday night for sure till the end and early Saturday. If there's any questions.
Oh, cool. Thank you, Lynette.
Right.
Lynette, I do have, through the chair, Lynette, I have a question because there was confusion about what day that's going to be. I received an email today or yesterday saying it was going to be on Friday at noon.
It's
and then
Saturday.
Okay, because she needs to correct that because it came out today saying the 30th. Well, is that,
Okay.
yeah. And I emailed her and I didn't hear back. I mean,
Yeah.
my proxy is Gian is going in my place.
I will check on that because most delegates won't be there at noon on
I
Friday.
know.
They'll be
Yeah.
there at noon on Saturday.
That's right. So that's why I
Okay.
emailed her back.
Let me make sure that that's corrected.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Not seeing anyone's hands up. I will say that for those of you who are going down, enjoy yourself. The security is said to be tighter than Sacramento, and we're hopefully going to be safer than in Sacramento. There is a long list of prohibited items that you can find on the State Parties Convention website. So if you haven't already looked at that, check it over, make sure that your favorite water bottle or convention bag meets their criteria. I will also say there's going to be tons of statewide candidates running around. So if you have the opportunity to get contacts with the various candidate schedulers, I'm sure that Carrie and Vernil would appreciate that for inviting them to be guest speakers at upcoming fundraisers and other events. So do what you can to wrangle us some top name speakers and attendees at our events. And everyone stay safe and stay sane. Not seeing any of their hands. Do we have announcements? We'll move on to announcements. Okay, I think people are ready to. Oh, Paula, your hand's up.
I don't have an announcement, but since there weren't any announcements, I would like to move to adjourn in the memory of Robert Padilla.
Certainly, he was a stalwart for our committee for many years. So I would certainly second that.
Second that.
Awesome.
Not seeing any other discussion. So all in favor, say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Sign off, whatever
Aye.
you wish to do, and we are adjourning in memory of Robert Padilla. And for those of you going to Anaheim, we will see you there this weekend.
Thank you.
Don?
Yeah.
If you go to the chat, you know, where you see all the chats, all the things, up at the very top, there's 3 dots.
Right. Is it, you're saying it might work for me this month?
It'll work for you. It's set up so anybody in the meeting can save the chat.
Okay.
That goes to your computer as a text file.
Awesome sauce.
And I've saved it as well. So if it doesn't work, I can email it to you.
Okay. Well, I don't think we're going to have quite the same issue with the questions that we were hoping to get last month, but
yeah.
Regardless, I appreciate that we are making leaps and bounds in improvement.
Okay.
Well, we're getting the hang of it.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.